Brian, as a kid, did you love reptiles? How did you get to the place you are today?
Literally, it's funny. I've told this story before that my first memory as a person was when I was 2 years old. My mom told me about it because she remembered taking me to a place called the Belle Isle Aquarium. And they had a ball python. It was all fish, but they had one ball python there. I was 2 years old. That's my first memory as a child. Like, I don't remember my siblings, don't remember my mom. I remember this ball python. And I remember being enamored with it. And still, all these years later, I remember the feeling I had when I saw it, right? And so from that moment on through my entire life, I've been obsessed with reptiles, and I go out we had some woods by the house, so I would go out and catch garter snakes when I was 3, 4 years old, catching garter snakes, bringing them home. And the thing that's interesting is, like, I didn't have family members. Nobody was into, not even just reptiles, but not even pets. We didn't have dogs, we didn't have cats, we didn't have fish. They just, it's still to this day, my family's not an animal family. So I don't know where I got it. You know, it was like just built in me. Only thing I've ever wanted to do was work with animals, and in particular reptiles. And I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea what that meant. I just knew somehow, whether I was going to work at a zoo or field work or breeding reptiles or now YouTube in a reptile zoo. I mean, I just knew that some way I was going to spend my life around reptiles, and it's been amazing.
How has that evolved? You started with a reptile business breeding animals, and now you're doing more of an animal zoo educational.
Yeah. The evolution is really interesting because I'm now where I wanted to be, right? You know, so like, I just wanted to work with reptiles. So the opportunity at the time, back in the early 90s, was to breed reptiles. So I was like, oh, I could work with reptiles by breeding reptiles. But ultimately, the goal was always to do, you know, conservation, you know, education, reptile zoo. You know, that was always like the dream. And for most of my life, that dream seemed unattainable, right? For one reason or another. And so we really just worked with breeding reptiles and selling to the pet trade and stuff like that. But ultimately, that led me to the iteration of my life that I am now, where I was able to open up a reptile zoo, continue to expand that. Now we're doing about 1,200 educational shows a year, and it's this is like where I want it to be, you know what I mean? And I've went through a lot of different changes in my life to get to where I am, but now I'm super happy, and I can't tell you how much it's an amazing experience every day to work with these animals and educate people about how amazing they are.
How do you manage your time doing that, balancing a zoo and posting daily YouTube videos and putting on this event?
I'm a maniac. You know, I balance my life by not being balanced, right? I do so much, but you got to remember, everything I do, I love. Like this event to me was never about the money, whether I make money, I lose money, whatever the case is. It was about getting reptile, bird people together, aquatic people together, arachnid people together, animal people. Getting them together and becoming one place where everyone could do it. And that's what it is. And then balancing the daily videos and running my breeding center and running my reptarium and running my product line, merch companies and stuff like that. There's so much. And then there's things that people don't even know I do that I do on the side. I don't know how I manage it. I guess I'll tell you this. I have great people around me. Right? Like, I could never do the things I'm doing without the support staff that we've created over the last 25 years. And some of the people are here today working, and some of the people are back home keeping the reptile zoo going. And I think that the thing I'm the most happy about this weekend is not only the event was amazing and everyone was so amazing, but I didn't get one phone call from my staff back at the reptile zoo this weekend. Nice. So they had it going smooth without me. So I'm very blessed for that.
Could you give advice twofold, people looking to get into animals and people looking to get into social media as a way to share that?
I think anyone that wants to work with animals, the first thing I always say is, like, volunteer and get a mentor, right? You know, like, volunteer at zoos, volunteer at breeding places, volunteer at educational, you know, whatever it is. Be around the animals, get experience hands-on, and typically you're not going to do that getting paid probably to start with. You're going to probably have to do it for free, but it doesn't matter. When I was young, I volunteered at a guy named Mark Bell, who has one of the biggest collections in the world. To this day, I would go to his house every Friday and Saturday, still going to school, still working at a pet shop, and then go to his house and stay till 2 in the morning cleaning cages because I knew it gave me experience. He was my mentor. He was my mentor, and still to this day, I look at him as my mentor. And so I think that's to get into the animal world that way. Then social media, just have fun. I mean, it's a wild ride. Whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever it is, it's a wild ride. But it's just do it. I mean, get out of your comfort zone, make it happen. And as you get that first like, the 10th like, the 1,000th like, the 100,000th like, it's amazing. And you can know that your voice, especially if your voice is about loving animals and loving reptiles, your voice is so much larger if you can reach it on social media. But always be authentic and have as much fun with it as you can, and be so passionate that I've always said that if you're passionate enough, you're going to get other people to say, I've got to give these animals a try, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
I'm glad to be here. All right, cool.